Let's say you're running a couple different marketing campaigns, but you have no idea how successful they are. You don't know which one is bringing in more traffic to the website. That is where UTM parameters come into play. So UTM parameters are basically just tags that you can use to start to better track the traffic that comes from a marketing campaign, a social media post, to the website. Why do UTM parameters even matter in the first place? Well, first and foremost, it can be very helpful for attribution tracking. Sometimes when businesses come to us, they are posting on Facebook, they're doing an email campaign, they're also posting on Instagram, on X, but they don't know which platform is the most successful. So in that case, UTM parameters can really come into play because you can actually see, okay, so we're getting likes through Facebook, but we're not getting any traffic to the website. And then it can help you kind of reevaluate, okay, do we put as many resources into Facebook as we would on Instagram? And to see where are the most successful platforms when it comes to driving results for your business. The second thing is measuring campaign performance. So when it comes to all things marketing, we are huge on tracking because you don't know how successful something's going to be unless you set up proper tracking. When you do UTM parameters, this can really help gauge the success of a campaign. For example, let's say you run a Black Friday sale, you can track the performance of the campaign, and then next year's Black Friday performance, you can compare it and you can see, okay, as a business, we are doing better or we are doing worse than our last Black Friday campaign. So it can really help you make smart, informed decisions based on data, based on numbers. The third thing is calculating ROI. So especially if you're doing like different marketing efforts. So let's say you're doing an email campaign, maybe you're doing some paid social, some organic social, you can actually track the conversion rate and the return from all of those different marketing efforts. So let's say you have an organic social media post and you see, okay, like we're getting at least like 50 new leads to the website on a monthly basis. And then we can see, okay, 20 of those are actually converting and actually like buying our products. So it can help you make a very informed decision, tracking different marketing efforts and to see which one is better for converting for the business. So then you can obviously double down on the ones that are driving sales for the business. And number 4, data-driven decision making. You've got to know where your marketing dollars are going towards and how effective they are and what the ROI looks like. So you don't know any of this unless you're tracking, unless you can see, okay, this is typically how well this type of campaign does. This is typically how many sales we get from this. And then you can double down and critique and make things better, because having the data can help you just make better decisions and optimize for the best possible results. Here are some tips for using UTM parameters. First and foremost, document your naming conventions. The nice thing with UTM parameters is that you can have some flexibility when it comes to adding in different campaign sources, different tracking and tags that you use, but the caveat there is you want to make sure it's consistent across platforms. So what seems to work really well is having a shared Google Sheet among an organization so that people know where to pull a UTM parameter from so that they can add it to the right marketing campaign. Number 2, keep format and styling consistent. For example, only use lowercase, no spaces, make sure everything is by the same naming convention so everything is super consistent. You're gonna run into issues if something is off or if it's different when you go into Google Analytics to double check that things are working. Which brings me into my third point is for the first couple of months that you're using UTM parameters, just make sure that things are lining up in Google Analytics so you can see, okay, this is working. We are tracking this in the right way. And so you can be able to tell if this is successful. And if something's off or if something looks kind of funky, it probably is. So it can take a little time to get that flow down, but then once you get the tracking, it's usually one and done, and then you can really see the performance in Google Analytics. UTM parameters can be incredibly helpful when it comes to tracking the return from a social media campaign, a marketing campaign, a promotion, anything that you want to track to see, okay, how successful is this actually, you can use UTM parameters to get everything set up. And to put it in more context, before we even press publish on any of our marketing efforts, our social media campaigns for clients, we always set up UTM parameters because we want to know right out of the gate if something is successful or something is not. And how do you know unless you track it? So that's why tracking is so crucial. And again, before we go live with anything, we make sure UTM parameter is set up. Now, this has been very eye-opening to us over the years because when we work with different clients, sometimes the clients don't even know like what platforms are the most successful in driving traffic. Like one of our skincare clients, we posted on Facebook, on Instagram, on Pinterest, email marketing, and it wasn't until we analyzed the data that we saw, oh wow, like more traffic is actually coming from Pinterest versus Instagram. So it's little decisions like those where you can actually use data to make a super informed decision. And so with that information, we're like, okay, based on the data, we are going to amp up the number of pins that we post every day. And then we're going to put a little less emphasis on Instagram because we know that's not driving sales. And the focus for the specific quarter for this client was sales. It's kind of amazing all the different levers that you can pull to really bolster your marketing efforts. But again, you don't know until you're actually looking at the data and actually looking at the numbers. I hope you guys thought that was helpful, and let me know if you have any questions about UTM parameters or tracking or anything like that, and I'll see you in the next one.